Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs. Welcome to episode 115, How Mediums Can Develop Confidence. I want to share a little something with you before I even talk about this episode, and it's something exciting. I am opening the doors to my Mediumship Mastery Circle, my online membership site for new mediums to come in. We have mediums from all over, and we have such a sacred and loving, supportive group, and I would love to have you there. They're only open for a little bit longer, so go to lindsaymarino.com to get more information. Okay, so this show is all about tips on how you can get even more confident in your mediumship, and you'd be surprised at what's in here. It's not even just about mediumship. There's actually more to it. I've done thousands of readings over the years, and I recognize with the ups and downs of mediumship what I needed for balance and to feel more confident. So I can't wait for you to hear the show. Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about how mediums can develop their confidence. And Tony, you've lived with me for a while now, so you kind of know the ups and downs that I've gone through with mediumship.
I definitely do. Before I met Lindsay in 2010, I wasn't aware that I actually was a medium, that I could communicate with past loved ones. And then as soon as I met Lindsay, it just took off from there, and it's been building momentum ever since. So yes, I've experienced a lot of different things and insights and what it takes, the low points of mediumship, the high points, what it takes to maintain confidence throughout all of that. Yeah, I've watched Lindsay go through the whole cycle of that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I want to say before we go further is there's going to be moments in mediumship where you're not going to have one of those readings where you felt confident. That's just going to naturally happen. But there's different ways to kind of catch yourself if you need to throughout mediumship process. So if you are a medium listening to this, you know exactly what we're talking about here, that there's going to be ups and downs, but there's some tips that we can give and share with you how to go deeper with the confidence level, because there are two different things going on with mediumship. I mean, there's evidence, and I think that's a big focus right now with mediums. Everyone's focused on, let's get the evidence. And I remember, do you remember when I was used to do that, where I would just focus on the evidence?
Yeah, you got hyper focused on it to where you're like, wait, did I get enough evidence?
Exactly.
And you start to overthink it and use it as a tool to where it's probably not even meant to be used that way.
Yeah, it wasn't until a client said, well, I know this is my dad. You've given me all the evidence, but what does he want to say? Mm-hmm. Or what's the point of him sharing this? And I start to think about it, and I'm like, why am I not having that balance? So having the balance of giving the evidence and proof that past loved ones are here, maybe it's memories, what they look like, how they passed, sometimes names come through. What else can come through during mediumship readings that I'm missing?
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of it right there.
Songs, shared songs.
I mean, really anything. They could use anything, right?
Right. What they did profession, what they like to do in their life. So a mix of that with the essence of spirit and the presence of spirit. And I feel like mixing those two together is really magical, but there's more to mediumship. So when I have a day where I feel like I'm giving a reading, I want to make sure that I'm in the most highly energetic space before I give the reading. So some things that Tony helped me with before I even thought to do it was just exercising before the reading or in between. So do you want to kind of share about how that affects the body too?
Yeah, but there's definitely, we have all kinds of episodes explaining that, how movement affects the mind and the body, how it's all interconnected. But it goes back to your point to where you're talking about how mediumship is more than just giving readings and being really good at that. Mm-hmm. It's treating the whole medium, right?
Yes.
And remembering that we have a body, we are humans, we're a powerful spirit as well, and all of these factors going on. And I think a lot of times, not just in mediumship, but in any industry, you can look at people forget that part of it, that yeah, you have the skill part with your specific niche and industry and what you're doing, but don't forget the human and the body and all the self-care that's really, if you ask my opinion, that's the 80% right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it is important, but I didn't think about it like that before because I was so focused on just developing the mediumship side of things. But I think even with readings, I'm thinking back to readings where I didn't have a water bottle with me. I wasn't drinking the water beforehand. I did notice a difference. And there's studies that have proven that staying hydrated actually keeps your focus, it increases memory. So when you're mildly dehydrated, your memory is affected, your brain cognition is affected, your focus is lost. So it's important to stay hydrated when you're doing readings. Also nutrition, I feel like that's a big thing too. Now, adding these components to your readings, exercise, nutrition, focused in on practicing your skills, naturally by making these small habits, it's going to increase your confidence because you know you're going someplace and you know where to go. But I don't feel like it stops there.
Exactly, and the whole point of this is to take a look at yourself as the whole person, because say your mediumship is struggling for a week or two and you're like, I'm not in the flow and all of that. Well, most people are going to just go to, let me train more mediumship. To where I think what we're talking about here is to develop overall confidence is to ask yourself the questions, have I been giving myself enough self-care in the previous month? Have I been drinking enough water? Have I been, how's my nutrition looked? Asking yourself all of those questions that cover the whole person. And then you'll find your holes rather than thinking, oh, I need to just double up on studying mediumship skills and I need to give more readings. And that's where the more is less. Because if you focus on one thing too much, it actually starts to decrease.
Exactly. And there was actually a study that we were looking at the other day where there is space, actually having space in between things that you're focused on, repetitive things, actually brings more growth. So I think that's pretty powerful. So like Tony mentioned, yeah, you can practice readings. You need to practice readings if you're doing mediumship. You should be practicing. But there's also more to it. You got to leave some breathing room, just like an athlete needs time to rest their muscles so that they can get even stronger.
Well, an athlete's a perfect part of it because the athlete, of course, if you're a professional athlete, they must practice, say, basketball every single day. Like, that's a common sense, right? Just like mediumship every single day. But what we know about sports, which if you don't know now you know, is that it's pretty much 80% mindset, because you have all of these athletes in a league that are pretty similar. Like, some of them are, they stand out with their skills, but a lot of them are at a level that's pretty even. And what separates the top from the people that are just staying even with other people, it's the mindset. It's understanding you are human. It's understanding the nutritional aspect of it and the other side of it that we're talking about here that mediums also have.
Yeah, exactly. And that just reminded me when you said that about the ebbs and flows, like the giving and the receiving. And I think that's a big thing for mediums. Making sure that what you're giving, you're also receiving. Because it could feel uncomfortable receiving as a medium because you're so used to giving to your clients. So this is where the self-care comes in, but also the mindset development. So regularly during the week, I'll either read or I will listen to an audio, and it doesn't even have to be related to mediumship. It could be related to something else that connects me even more deeply with my mindset. So I love Les Brown in the morning. I'll wake up in the morning and listen to Les Brown or Tony Robbins. And I feel like they're really motivational people, and they talk about real life situations that can come up. When you have that moment where you feel like, why am I having a bad day? And I just woke up. Like, what is this feeling inside? It's something that pulls you up and starts making everything real. I also believe with confidence comes stories, research, experiences. So when you're doing these mediumship readings, it's important to be surrounded with like-minded people, like-minded mediums. And I've noticed a huge difference in even classes that I've had when people get together and they can actually share and say, I've been through that too. A lot of my students or members of my membership community say, I'm having this issue. Have you experienced this? And there's like a
bunch of comments underneath saying, I had the same exact situation come up.
So it's that support. So think about with your mediumship, because I've observed it, Lindsay. What do you think is maybe one of the number one or two or three things that raised your confidence level? So you got attending trainings, you have the self-care, you have all of that. What are the few things that
I feel like
boosted
having
yours?
alone time is a big thing too. Like I really make time to be more alone and, going out and being social, but also having 20 minutes alone by myself before I even get into readings. I think that's important.
So you got alone time, and then what do you think would be another booster of confidence with your overall mediumship skills and all of that?
My language when I give the readings. I find that when I am giving readings and I notice my self-confidence switch or slip in that moment, normally I start to have a different tone when I'm delivering the message, and it's almost like I'm asking a question. So I'll say, did he have a red car? Right there, my vibration, my aura comes in, and I start to realize the opposite of what should be happening. So I feel like my language and saying, I see, he's showing me the red car right now. He's telling me this. I'm feeling this from him. And it's speaking in a way like that. Now, the thing that helped me with that, I felt, was when I was doing platform demonstrations, audience readings, because you don't have much time to give the message. You have usually I take about 7 minutes, because the whole audience will get bored if you go beyond that, and I've had that happen too. But one of the things that I recognize with that is the language and being really clear and confident that you're trusting the spirit realm, but you're also trusting the information. So I can catch myself if I'm not there, because it will happen. It's going to
happen. And I feel like a lot of that came from you're somebody who's continuously training. You're continuously surrounding yourself around other like-minded mediums and like-minded people in general. And I noticed that each time you go and get that extra support, you're coming back recharged. You're coming back refreshed because you could have the conversations with those specific groups of people that you can't have anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, you have to have people that understand you. And I think this is really important. It's just like sitting in a teacher's lounge. When I was teaching 3rd grade, they always say, if you want to go to the teacher's lounge, you never know what's going to be in the teacher's lounge, because everyone's talking. So you can either be a part of the conversation where people are complaining about things, or you could be part of the conversation that's like growing and having fun and laughing. I'm not saying to fake emotions, because things are going to come up no matter what.
Well, that's the power of the support too, is when you get to these support groups, you're able to let loose these emotions that you're not faking, that are maybe it's pain, maybe it's like frustration, that if you said that to somebody else, like say a medium comes in and they're having this overwhelm of energy because they're giving all these readings, well, if they try to share that with somebody who doesn't give readings, I mean, they're gonna sound like they're crazy, right? For one,
exactly.
Or they could. It's not gonna be relatable. Now they come back to the support group, and it's like you said with your students in your mediumship mastery circle. It's like somebody has a problem, and it's like, oh, I have that problem too. And just knowing that you're not the only one having that problem. Like I know in my experience as a coach, when I see other coaches have similar problems as I do, I'm like, it's like a fresh breath of air to where I realize, wait, this is just part of the journey. And now it's my chance to figure out, okay, you went through this. What are some insights and skills and processes that you went through to kind of like maintain this to where you're not going to, lose your momentum and lose your interest in mediumship?
That's true. I agree with that too. But what I was saying is there going to be 2 different places. There's going to be a place of like a healthy place to do that in, but then there's also going to be a time where you feel like it's not energizing. Do you know what I mean?
Like make it real.
So you want to be in a space where if you're practicing and you're excited to practice, you get practicing, and you also share your concerns and things that come up, but you get things done.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's having that balance of being able to share and then being able to practice.
Right. Oh, so that's like the biggest thing right there is
to have
you're
the balance
practicing in that safe space and you're also able to share in that safe space.
So you just want to make sure that you're, feeling that feeling of being excited to practice and share and be vulnerable, but also you're getting to work too. Like you're not making excuses while you're working. You're like, okay, let's solve this problem and feel like that's happening.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Because if they don't have a safe space to go practice in, and you're practicing, at your house, but then you have half the people there that don't believe in what you're doing, or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a safe space. It's like, it's very sacred, this work that you're doing. So I see what you're saying there.
Yeah, it
Makes
is
sense.
sacred. So just kind of feel out because you're going to feel drawn to a certain place to practice. And I think that's important to pay attention to that too. And what else am I missing? I feel like there's a lot to cover.
All right, so just to recap what we covered so far, the way that you've been able to build your confidence as a medium over the years is to have that support,
Mm-hmm.
right? To practice your mediumship in a safe space.
Yes.
To have self-care, which is, includes alone time and really just tuning into yourself. If you need a massage, go get a massage that day. If you don't need to do anything at all, don't do anything that day. And then what else? Am I missing anything that's really helped build your confidence?
I feel like taking time to reflect, that was a big thing. If I had a reading that didn't go that well, I used to beat myself up and focus on it for days. And I'm like, oh, I didn't feel like it was that great. They might have been happy with it, but I didn't feel that great about it.
So you could call it like more intelligent reflection,
it's more
than
effective.
or effective reflection than ineffective reflection. Because ineffective reflection, I've seen this as a teacher too, and you have too, and you've actually done it, I'm sure, just like I did. To where ineffective, you're thinking of all the things that you did wrong, and you're feeling bad about it, and you're just feeling really bad. It's like a bad feeling.
Yeah.
To where a healthy reflection, because as teachers we're taught to reflect. A healthy reflection is what did I do, that was bad? What did I do, or that wasn't as effective? What did I do that worked? How could, and then you just process it from a space of, it's okay, this is part of the journey, this is my practice. I don't have to feel too sad about it, too happy.
Right.
It's more just like, oh, that happened. It's like an athlete looking at film. Oh, instead of taking that jump shot right there, I could have maybe passed the ball a little bit more right there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of speaking right away, I could have paused maybe for a second longer if you're a teacher. All of these different things. But yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah,
that's a huge one.
I think that's important. And even with mediumship, sometimes you do have to write it down, or you do have to tell someone that you trust. Like I usually tell you, I'll say, I'm feeling this way, or I'm feeling that way, or I need to go and recharge. But I think trusting that feeling and really coming inward, but also picking and choosing with what conversations you're going to be a part of and what you're not going to be a part of.
That's
because it's very easy to get sucked into saying, oh, I did so bad, and continue the conversation. Mm-hmm. Like I used to do that after events, like, oh, I could have done better, and like really internalized it for a while.
Right, and I can remember a few events to where it's like, I was like, wow, I was blown away because the event went so well, and then you come back, oh, that one part where it's like, I'm like, what one part? Okay, yeah, I understand, okay, yeah, you could have done this. You could have done it this way, which is good that we talk about that, right?
But now I talk about it in a different, like we
still say it, and that's the point I'm bringing up, is like, we still say it in different ways, but it's like, I notice with you, it's from, every year it's from a healthier and healthier space.
Yeah, and it didn't start there.
And it doesn't start there, and the thing is with this, it's never ending, right? Because as humans, we have infinite potential, meaning we can always get better at what we're doing, so even someone like you, Lindsay, who, you're a professional medium, you've been doing this is your career, like, you're very confident in it, you still reach out for support.
Yes.
Compared to the person who's just beginning out, they really need support at the beginning because you're so vulnerable, especially if you've been doing mediumship for 10, 15 years, but you haven't done it as your business. Well, when you start your business, even as though
it's a different story.
It's a whole different story now, right? You really need that extra support even more so. So there's so many layers to this.
There are. And I think the biggest thing is to know that you're always going to need support.
Yes.
I'll never stop learning. I'll never stop asking for help. And I think when you stop learning and get very rigid on like, I don't need to learn anymore, whether it's from your guide or a teacher or whoever it is, that's when you know, or if it's within yourself, like I'm good where I'm at, you have to go back to the basics and go back to the space where you started, because we should always be learning and growing.
Definitely, and it's evident out in the marketplace. You look at any professional in any industry, the top professionals. They have coaches, they have all coaches of all different sorts, body coaches, mindset coaches, corporate coaches, all of those different things because of what you're saying.
Well, we gave you a lot of information, so if you are a medium and you can relate to this, share with us anything that you've experienced. We want to hear from you, and we hope that this was helpful, and we cannot wait to see you next time. Oh, but wait, before we go, I do want to say one thing. If you're watching this video, you may be watching it at a point where the doors are open to my Mediumship Mastery Circle. So they're open officially right now. So you could be watching the replay. We don't know if they're open right now, but no matter what, go to lindsaymarino.com, and I only open it a couple times a year. So join us if you are a medium. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.